Hey everybody, it's Alex from Motoroso.com, but this is the official Baja Designs installation guide for the A-pillar kit on the 2024 and up 4th generation Toyota Tacoma. Now, if you need help choosing the different A-pillar kits, we made a separate video on our channel. That'll take you through all the different variations. We'll put a link to that here and in the description of this video, and that'll help you choose which one's gonna be right for you. And if you'd like to shop for these, check us out at Motoroso.com. We would love to help you with all your Baja Designs needs. But in this video, we're showing you exactly how this thing installs, and it is a very straightforward process. Now, we wired it into the auxiliary switches built into our Tacoma. Now, in the future, you may want to wire these into an S-Pod switch controller, your own auxiliary switches like we did in this video, or you may have none of that and you might need to mount the switch that comes on the switched harness. That is a little bit more involved in passing that wire through the firewall. We didn't do that in this video, but if you follow the instructions provided by Baja Designs, you should get through that just fine. This is going to go in with basic tools. You might not even need a second set of hands to get this done. Anyways, let's just dive in and get right to it. First, start by opening the hood and removing one bolt at a time on the hood hinge and replacing with the included 6mm Allen bolts and washers. Do this one bolt at a time so the hood position does not move. Next, make some marks around the hood hinges so that you have a gauge for realigning the hood exactly where it is. Now, one side at a time, loosen both bolts and slide the A-pillar bracket in from the rear of the hood under the two 6mm Allen bolts and washers. Then realign the stock position using your markings and tighten these bolts back down. Once you've done both sides, just close the hood to make sure that the hood alignment looks even. Grab the small steel brackets for the squadrons and mount these on the A-pillar brackets using the larger bolts, washers, and nylock nuts. Then tighten these snug but still movable. Before mounting your squadrons, choose the lenses you want to use and swap those over by removing the 4 small bolts on the face and replacing the lens, being careful to make sure that the gasket is seated properly and won't get pinched. You can do this on the vehicle, but it is slightly easier when you've got the lights in your hand. Mount the squadrons by placing the small 4mm bolt through the side hole with the spring washer between the bracket and the housing. Tighten these bolts snug, but still able to move the light on the bracket. To wire into the Tacoma auxiliary switches, locate this capped-off harness just next to the windshield wiper fluid reservoir and remove the plug. Then your Tacoma should have come with a set of auxiliary cables in the glove box. Identify the matching plug harness, and you can plug that directly into the harness here, and now you have a number of pigtails to work with. Your pigtail will have 4 wires. The gray wire with the black stripe is your ground, and the green, black, and white lines correspond to the different auxiliary switches in our Tacoma. Now, manufacturers have a habit of changing these wires across the years, so reference your owner's manual to make sure that you choose the right wire colors that correspond to your auxiliary switches. But we have a 2024 TRD off-road, and for us, the green wire corresponds to auxiliary switch 2, and that's the switch we want to use for our A-pillar lights. Strip a small amount off the end of your ground and the wire you want to use for your auxiliary switch. Then you can either use a buck connector or something like these slick lever nuts on the end of each wire, and then connect the harness into the open slot that we identified earlier. The harness that comes with this kit will include 2 squadron connectors, a switch, a relay, and your positive and negative battery terminals. If you're not wiring this into the Tacoma auxiliary switches, you'll need to use this whole harness, and you'll connect it to the battery, positive and negative, then run the switch into the cab through the firewall, and then mount your switch and connect your lights. But in our case, we're just going to cut the full length of the squadron connectors off this harness and dispose of the rest. From the squadron, route the cable through from the back of the hood to the inside of the hinge to avoid the risk of the hinge damaging the cable. Connect the length of wiring harness to the light, and then run your wires carefully along the firewall toward your open pigtails at the front of the engine bay. Make sure you avoid anything hot, sharp, or rotating, and make small holes in the trim along the way to zip tie to keep everything clean and out of trouble. Do this for both lights. You can then merge your wires into the butt connectors, or again, we really like these clever little lever nuts, which are not part of the kit, but you can get them on Amazon, for a very easy clean and install. Your black wire will go to the ground, and the white wire will go to the color of the auxiliary switch you've chosen, which in our case is green for auxiliary 2. Now just test your lights to make sure they're working as expected. You don't have to start the truck, just press the engine button twice without pressing the brake pedal and the ignition mode will turn on. And if everything is working as expected, you're done with your install.
All right, we hope you found that helpful. Told you it was an easy install. Now, if you'd like to learn more about installing the SAE Fog Pocket kit that we've got here, or any of the Fog Pocket kits on the Tacoma, check out that video right here. The installation does require that the front clip comes off, but it's actually much easier than you think. You could definitely get that done on your own as well. Thanks for watching.